Geotweet, hello, my name is Kevin. I am the Dapper Man. That is Dapperman. For some reason, someone told me that when you hit the subtitle, the captioning, it spells Diaper Man, which I don't understand why it says that, but that's me, Dapper Man. And if you want to, if you wish to, and if you could, I would grandly appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, which is right there, and there's a like button right there, and there's a comment section that's right down there. You might have to click to comment, and you could type those in, and leave me a comment. I greatly appreciate it, and subscribe. I will be ever so thankful. You don't know how much thankful I am when you do that, because it helps encourage me to make more videos. And a bonus, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to YouTube. So if you have an Android phone, you have a Google account, and that's what it takes, a Google Gmail account to subscribe to someone. A friend of mine just recently told me, he's like, I didn't know it didn't cost anything. It's like, you're right, it doesn't cost anything. It only costs you a Google account, unless you have an Apple account, iPhone, then that's between you and God. But anyhow, that's it. So hopefully you enjoyed this review, and I will see you around to the next video. Thank you for clicking. So when a film is made for $37 million and it only returns in $11 million domestically, that's not really a good sign. So then you calculate the worldwide profit and everything all together everywhere, and it barely makes $1 million back. That is not a very good sign for a good movie at all. What would cause the studios to display Marvel's first time on the big screen? Now, when you think of a Marvel film, we think of them as today as the Avengers, we think of Captain America, we think of Spider-Man, we think of even Daredevil. We think of a lot of films. And you think of all the characters that could have been chosen that's popular by both children and adults alike. You have this one character which is not even well known. Even today, it's barely noticed and not very much mentioned. Doesn't have any superpowers, but rather complains a lot and doesn't do nothing much but just complain. We choose a character called Howard the Duck, and it's produced by George Lucas. It's quite of a marvel of a film, no pun intended, as the many duck puns that are in this movie of feathers and birds and ducks. It's really insane, and just to think about. So what exactly kind of went horribly wrong, and what is the story of Howard the Duck? Well, let me explain with a brief history on Howard the Duck before I get more into the movie. Now, Howard the Duck was not really created as his own comic. It was more of a throwaway character and a Man-Thing comic on the Adventures into Fear, issue number 19. The editor, Roy Thomas, of the Man-Thing comic, didn't very much like the character at all. Howard the Duck was funny, he was quirky, and it was just thrown in there. So he wanted him out in the very next issue, which they did. They killed him off in the very next issue. Unfortunately, fans did not like the abrupt killing of their beloved character, Howard the Duck. They didn't like it. They were very upset. They were ticked off. This actually led to many livid readers, and they wrote back their angriness in reply. One of them even sent in an actual dead duck. A dead duck. That's the most drastic thing I could think someone would ever do. But they wanted Howard the Duck back. So the creator of Howard the Duck, Steve Gerber, I don't know, brought back Howard in future Man-Thing comics for a short time. Before his first feature comic in January 1976, his character grew popularity with its social satire, self-aware humor, and the joke of human oddities. In 1977, the Walt Disney Company tried to sue Marvel for the character Howard the Duck because of the likeness of Donald the Duck. You see the similarities right there. Steve didn't bow down to Walt Disney's demands, and he was actually creating more just to tick off the Walt Disney Company. Eventually, it kind of backlashed, and he just didn't work very well with Marvel. He was then removed from the comic book series in 1978. In 1980, Steve learned on Marvel to license Howard for film and broadcasting media, and set to file a copyright infringement lawsuit, saying he was the sole owner of the character. This would go on to 1982, in which Gerber lost. Howard the Duck would go on to show in cameos some short-lived series, and its last issue in October 2016, which I personally enjoyed. I thought it was fun. Yeah. And that was with the crossover with the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I would also have short cameos in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, and a short scene in Avengers Endgame. If you blink, you would miss it. He doesn't speak or anything, but it's like you gotta really search in order to find his character just running across the screen. You're like, oh, there's Howard the Duck, but you have to, I think you have to zoom because it's barely there. And as far as comics go, I actually have a couple of the comics, the original ones. I had the 2016, but it got damaged through water when it fell on my hands and fell into a pond, because I would read books at parks, and I live in Florida, so yeah, we've got ponds, rivers, rain, floods, you name it, hurricanes, we've got it all, and it happened. Too bad the comic book wasn't waterproof and didn't float like a duck. Yeah, I'm just getting you prepared for this review. And here are some of the comics right here. I actually own a couple, and I actually enjoyed them. They have that social satire that you would appreciate in comics, so why not? So, what exactly could have went wrong with creating a character nobody really knew much about? Infringement, lawsuits, and all sorts of stuff in 1986. I was 3 years old. So I'm going to try to make this a brief breakdown as fast as possible and as short as possible, because this movie just gets really complex for some odd reason I can't even explain. So we are introduced to Howard Duck. He's sitting in his house. He's drinking beer, because what else would a duck drink other than beer? And reading, what is that? Okay, I am not showing you any further of that magazine because this is a very family channel and I like to keep it that way. But just prepare, because you will see nothing but duck puns, duck jokes, feather jokes, everything. Even the poster, everything. Everything you see in this movie, there are so many duck jokes and puns.
I'm a dead duck.
That's it. No more Mr. Nice Duck. Every duck's got his limit. No one laughs at a master of Quack-Fu. No duck is an island.
What is that? That's a
What
duck.
is that thing?
That's a duck, man.
So anyways, he gets sucked from his, I guess you want to say Duck Earth. Let's just say that because it doesn't really say the name of the planet. I'm pretty sure if there was a name for the planet, it would be Duck Earth or Duck Planet. Because it's duck. And he gets sucked from there and comes to Cleveland on Earth, the actual Earth with people and humans, and this humanoid duck being amongst humans. And he's introduced to a whole bunch of people just screaming and weird things happening and people freaking out because they're seeing a toddler-sized humanoid duck that's speaking English right back to them, and it just gets quite irritating in those first couple of minutes, and irritation begins even more when we go further into the movie. He gets somehow mixed up with a rock singer who's played by Leah Thompson. If you don't know her, she's from Back to the Future and The Adventures in Babysitting, which I need to rewatch that movie. I just thought of it. Her name is Beverly, and there's miscommunication. He wants to get back to Earth. She's trying. They come across a very young Tim Robbins, who is not really that great in this movie, and it has to be his first role, or second, because I've never seen Tim Robbins act this bad in a movie. And the things they give him, it's like almost they're just saying things just to say things throughout the movie. There's something about a dark evil lord that he needs to get back to Earth but can't, and they try to find scientists. I know this, I'm going everywhere with this movie, but that's exactly how you feel like when you watch this movie. It just gets everywhere. It goes back and forth. It goes further than it should be, because this movie is 2 hours, and it felt like they should have just cut an hour of this movie off. I wouldn't mind if Howard the Duck was actually made into a television show, and I felt like that's what this was trying to do probably initially, but it's like, screw the television show, let's make a movie. And we get this movie, which is very unfunny with so many of its puns, and it just goes everywhere. I'm being honest, this is the most flabbergasted movie I've ever seen, and I don't really say this on a light tone, but I say it strongly that it is a bad movie. So many bad choices, bad writing, bad editing. The music is not really that grand, and there's nothing to keep in memory. Something that just goes inside and it would completely drain you. You feel exhausted. It is a literal chore to get through this movie. There is very uncomfortable scenes. I mean, there is like this soon-to-be sex scene between a young lady and a duck. There is this sex resort, which I am completely, I don't know how this passed as a PG, but then again, I could tell you because the ratings were different at that time. But still, if this movie was to be re-rated, it would be PG-13. I know I'm going ahead of myself, but I just had to say that because it's weird. It's odd. I will admit, I did like the design of Howard the Duck. The animatronic design, I thought, is cool, and it's pretty impressive when you think of it. That's what I'm pretty sure $30 million of the $37 million budget came from. It went towards his suit, along with the 8 actors that was inside of his suit. So that's another thing you would notice when you watch this movie. Howard the Duck changes size because one moment he's at the size of a man's hip, next scene he's below it, and next scene he's like way above, and this happens throughout the movie. So that's another thing. I just thought of it. And I did like the special effects in it. They put a lot of movie into special effects, but then again, this is George Lucas. This is the industrial of light and magic. And because the downfall of this film and how horrible it did, it created the rise of Pixar. So, you know, with every bad thing that happened, something great came out of it. We got Pixar's, and we've got some great movies because of this one bad movie. So there is something to be thankful for. Even if you lose all of your money for this movie. Now, as I said, this is a movie I would not recommend. Usually I could recommend bad movies because sometimes you get those movies that are so bad, it's good, and you can't help but you want to watch it. This is one of those movies that it's not so bad, it's good, it's so bad, it is terrible. It is horrendous, it is preposterous, and it's something that you should try to avoid unless you are die-hard curious, such as myself, and have read the comics, such as myself, and you want to see what was so bad about this. And you'll feel your brain energy just drop as you watch this movie. Now, to tell you about the Blu-ray special features, it's the same thing as a DVD. It has some special features on here, and it's basically just reminiscing and talking about what they went through making Powder Duck, and how many bad reviews and how many bad things they've gotten from the press and everybody else, and how much they went to watch this movie with their friends, even at a house, and they would just make fun of them as they're watching the movie, which is, that's gotta be bad. I can't do that. I can't sit at a friend's house if I made a movie and it's like, hey, let's watch this movie, and they'll just laugh at me. It's like, yeah, you were in this. It's like, Another very interesting thing I just noticed on this Blu-ray, in the back of it, if you can see it, well, I will zoom in on the next scene and show you. It says at the end, this wacky, elaborately produced spoof of life, love, comic books, and horror movies feature out-of-this-world special effects is a treasure the whole family can enjoy. And that goes on to my next thing. This movie is not a movie for the whole family. I would not have your family watch this movie, because I would say this is a strong PG-13 for the things it says. If you want to know why I would rate it that, and why it's actually rated PG, here is the reason why. And that is my review, my history, and everything else I could tell you. I know about Howard the Duck and my thoughts on the movie. I know it was all over the place in the movie, but so is the movie. It is all over the place. And if you really want to watch it just to understand what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments below. Tell me your thoughts. And if you plan on not watching it, let me know and thank me for helping you not watch that movie. Every time you see it on the movie channel, or if you see it for sale, just like, not worth it. I have the movie. I guess I just have it just to show people I have possibly one of the worst movies ever made. And it's Marvel. And I hope you enjoy it. So, until next time, have a lovely day. Take care. Cheers.